Hello everyone, if you have your own paranormal experiences you'd like to share, please send them to our channel. Remember, we're not looking for fiction, but real accounts of unexplained events. Stay safe out there, and remember, not all ghosts are scary. Some just need help finding their way home. I've been hauling freight across Interstate 40 for 23 years. In that time, I've seen just about everything the road has to offer: blizzards that turn the highway into a skating rink, dust storms that blot out the sun, accidents that still wake me up at night. But nothing, and I mean nothing, prepared me for what happened on Route 287 that October night. The job was simple enough. I was running a load of industrial equipment from Amarillo to Denver, one of those overnight hauls that pays extra because nobody wants to drive through the dead hours. My rig, a 2019 Kenworth with just over 400,000 miles on her, was running smooth. The weather was clear, temperature hovering around 45 degrees. Perfect driving conditions. I'd left Amarillo around 10 p.m., planning to make Denver by dawn. The first few hours were uneventful: just me, the road, and whatever late-night talk radio I could pick up. Around 1:30 a.m., I was about 60 miles south of the Colorado border, in that stretch of northern New Mexico where civilization seems to give up entirely. No towns. No rest stops. Just endless darkness punctuated by the occasional reflective mile marker caught in my headlights. That's when I saw the construction zone. The orange barrels appeared first, lining both sides of the highway, funneling traffic from 2 lanes down to 1. Then came the signs: road work ahead. Construction zone. Reduced speed 45 miles per hour. The whole setup looked standard: flashing arrow boards, concrete barriers, the works. I downshifted and slowed, annoyed but not concerned. You hit construction at all hours in this job. What struck me as odd was the complete absence of equipment. No pavers, no steamrollers, no dump trucks. Nothing. Just the barriers and signs, stretching ahead into the darkness. I'd been through plenty of construction zones where the crew had packed it in for the night, but they always left something behind: equipment, materials, porta potties. This was empty. Then I saw him. He stood in the center of the lane about 200 yards ahead, illuminated by my headlights. A man in an orange safety vest and white hard hat, holding a stop sign on a pole. He stood perfectly still, the sign held at chest height, facing me directly. I applied the brakes, bringing the rig down to a crawl, then a complete stop about 20 feet from him. The air brakes hissed in the silence. I left the engine running and waited. He didn't move. I've dealt with plenty of flaggers over the years. Usually, they'll acknowledge you, a nod, a wave, something. This guy just stood there, the stop sign held steady, his face shadowed beneath the hard hat. I couldn't make out his features, but I could see he was tall, maybe 6'2" or 6'3", with a thin build. A minute passed. Then 2. My CB radio crackled with static, but no voices came through. I glanced at my phone. No signal, which wasn't surprising out here. I looked back at the flagger. He still hadn't moved. Hadn't shifted his weight, hadn't lowered the sign. Nothing. I flashed my high beams twice, the trucker's universal signal for what's the holdup. No response. The man could have been a statue. 5 minutes crawled by. I was starting to get irritated. I grabbed my CB mic and tried hailing any other drivers who might be in range. This is the Kenworth southbound on 287, mile marker 143. Anyone got eyes on this construction? Over. Nothing but static. Any trucker southbound on 287, this is the blue Kenworth at mile marker 143. Construction's got me stopped but there's no crew. Anyone copy? Over. Still nothing. I set the mic down and stared at the flagger. In all my years, I'd never seen anyone hold a sign that perfectly still for that long. My irritation was starting to curdle into something else. Something uncomfortable. Then, very slowly, he rotated the sign. It happened with an eerie mechanical precision, like he was on a motorized platform. The stop side swung away, and the slow side faced me. But he didn't move otherwise, didn't gesture me forward, didn't step aside. Just that rotation, then stillness again. I hesitated. Every instinct I'd developed over 2 decades of driving was screaming that something was wrong. But what were my options? I couldn't back up. I had 53 feet of trailer behind me and concrete barriers on both sides. I couldn't sit here all night. And it was a legitimate construction zone, or at least it looked like one. I eased off the brake and let the truck roll forward at maybe 5 miles per hour. As I approached, I tried to get a better look at the flagger. My headlights should have illuminated him clearly, but somehow he remained in shadow. I could see the orange vest, reflective strips glowing. I could see the white hard hat. But his face? It was like looking into a void. Not hidden, exactly. Just absent. I was almost alongside him when I noticed his hands on the sign pole. They were wrong. Too long, too thin, the fingers extending well past where they should have ended. And they weren't holding the pole so much as merged with it, like they'd grown into the metal. My heart hammered against my ribs. I pressed the accelerator, picking up speed. As I passed him, I looked in my driver's side mirror. He was watching me. I still couldn't see his face, but I knew with absolute certainty that he was watching. And then, as I stared, he lifted one of those two long hands and pointed ahead, down the highway. I faced forward and drove, faster now, pushing past the 45 miles per hour limit. The construction zone stretched on more barrels, more signs, but no equipment, no crew. Just that empty corridor of orange and white, mile after mile. Then I saw the second flagger. This one stood in the same position as the first, same orange vest, same white hard hat, same stop sign held at chest height. As I approached, dread coiling in my gut, it rotated the sign to slow with that same mechanical precision. I didn't slow down. I kept my speed up and blew past. In the mirror, I saw it point after me, just like the first one had. A third flagger appeared a mile later. Then a fourth. Then a fifth. Each one identical. Each one standing in perfect stillness until I approached, then rotating the sign, then pointing as I passed. I stopped looking in the mirrors. I kept my eyes on the road and my foot on the accelerator, pushing the rig as fast as I dared. The construction zone showed no signs of ending. It had been going for at least 15 miles now, far longer than any normal work zone. The radio was still dead. My phone showed no bars. And the flaggers kept appearing, spaced at irregular intervals, sometimes a mile apart, sometimes just a few hundred yards. I was sweating despite the October chill. My hands gripped the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles had gone white. Part of my brain was insisting this couldn't be real, that I'd fallen asleep at the wheel and was dreaming. But I was awake. I'd never been more awake. That's when I noticed the message boards. Those electronic signs they use in construction zones to warn drivers. The first one I passed read, "Stay in your vehicle." The second, "Do not stop." The third, "He's watching." My blood turned to ice water. Construction signs don't say things like that. They warn about delays, about lane closures, about speed limits. They don't give cryptic warnings. The fourth board, "Turn back." But I couldn't turn back. The concrete barriers formed an unbroken wall on both sides. I was locked into this lane, trapped in this nightmare corridor of orange barrels and impossible flaggers. The fifth board, "It's too late." I saw brake lights ahead. Another truck, maybe half a mile up, stopped in the lane. I could see the outline of the cab, the running lights, everything still and dark. As I got closer, I could make out more details. It was an older Freightliner, the kind they stopped making in the early 2000s. And standing next to the driver's door was a flagger. This one was different. Taller. The orange vest hung on a frame that seemed all wrong, proportions that didn't quite match human anatomy. As I approached, it turned to face me. I could see its face. I wish I couldn't. I wish I could forget what I saw, but it's burned into my memory like a brand. It wasn't a face. It was a mask of flesh pulled too tight over something that wasn't quite the right shape. The eyes were too far apart. The mouth opened in a smile that showed too many teeth. And those hands, reaching up to wave me forward, had at least 7 fingers each. I yanked the wheel hard to the left. The truck lurched, and for a horrible moment I thought I'd flip. The trailer swung wide, and metal shrieked as it scraped against the concrete barrier. But the barrier gave way. It wasn't real, wasn't solid, just disintegrated like fog. I burst through into the left lane. The construction zone vanished. Just like that. One moment I was surrounded by barrels and barriers and signs. The next, I was on an empty 2-lane highway, normal as could be. No construction. No flaggers. No stopped truck. Just the dark road and the painted lines and the vast New Mexico night. I kept driving. I didn't stop. I didn't slow down until I crossed into Colorado an hour later, and even then I only stopped long enough to use a rest stop bathroom and check my truck for damage. There were deep scratches along the entire left side of the trailer, gouges in the metal like I'd scraped against concrete. But my dashcam footage showed nothing. Just normal highway, then 5 minutes of static, then normal highway again. I called dispatch when I got to Denver, told them I'd hit some unexpected construction delays. They checked with the New Mexico DOT. No construction scheduled on Route 287 that night. No construction for the past 3 months on that stretch. No road work planned until spring. I asked other drivers about it. Posted on forums. Nobody else reported seeing anything like what I'd seen. A few guys claimed they'd driven that same stretch that same night. Said it was clear sailing. I still drive Route 287 when I have to. Always during the day now, never at night. And I've never seen the construction zone again. But sometimes, when I'm hauling through other states, other highways, in the deepest hours of the night, I'll see a flagger ahead. Just a normal construction worker doing their job. And for a moment, just a moment, I'll see those 2 long fingers wrapped around the sign pole, and that absent void where a face should be. And I'll remember the man in the orange vest, standing perfectly still in the darkness, pointing the way forward into something that shouldn't exist. I'll remember, and I'll keep driving. Because that's all you can do. Hey everyone, thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like and subscribe button, and then share with your friends. Your support helps us grow and create even more awesome content. We appreciate you being part of the journey. Here are a couple more videos for you to check out.